Well, joining me here at the Gherkin is Nick Starling from the Association of British Insurers and Andy Wigmore, Policy Director at the Claims Standards Council. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. Let's be absolutely clear about this, how this works. I have an accident and I make a claim, an insurance claim, and the insurance company then sells my details to a personal injury lawyer, and thereafter I'm bombarded and pestered by these ambulance chasers.
This is all about accidents and crashes where it's not your fault. So if I were to run into the back of your car and your car was damaged, you were injured, then my insurance company would take the liability, and those are the circumstances in which they will pass on the claim so that you can be contacted to see if you need treatment and
so forth. But they're paid for doing so?
They are paid for doing so. It's a referral
it's not
fee.
really altruistic, is it? Yeah. So they're not doing it for my benefit, they're doing it to receive some income.
No, insurance companies want to make sure that if you are injured and it's not your fault and it's their client's fault, they want to make sure that you're looked after quickly. The problem we have is that we have a very dysfunctional personal injury compensation system, which is riven with high costs, high legal fees, exaggerated claims. We heard in that report about whiplash, and we think that wholesale reform is needed, including the banning of referral fees.
Andy, what do you think? It seems to me that the whole data protection industry has just been thrown out of the window here. I give my details to one insurance company. The next thing I know, every Tom, Dick and Harry who wants to sell me something is on the phone.
Yeah, well, got to understand that marketing is a cost of doing business, and so the idea that referral fees are the evil is completely wrong. Anyone who actually wants to market their services does through a variety of mechanisms. Text messaging is just one example, but they can do advertising on television. They can do a blend of different things.
Yes, but a TV is not an intrusive way to market. Calling me on my phone is.
Yeah, but the issues you're talking about there, often that is what they call opt-in data. It's illegal for anyone to cold call. And the investigations that you're talking about...
Is it? We all get them, don't we, every day? I get them. I bet you get them every day.
Indeed, I have, yes. But in what you have done, you've probably opted in, ticked a little box which says you're quite willing to receive marketing data from third parties. And often that is when you make an insurance claim, or you actually look to take out insurance through a comparison
You
site.
see, that's interesting, isn't it? I've ticked that box. I don't remember ticking that box. Perhaps I did, perhaps I didn't. But, you know, isn't the point that... this behaviour, this practice, should be made much more clear in bold 24-point print on every policy. Every insurance company should say, look, Sonny, if you insure with us, we're going to sell your data to other people.
Well, we think it should be banned. I don't think it's the same as just an ordinary commercial or marketing cost. This is the selling of someone's personal details. I think that's fundamentally different. And of course it's not just insurance companies which do that, it's many others in the system. And someone called Lord Justice Jackson
Can we just stop you there? Are you sure that what Andy said is exactly the process, that every time an insurance company sells my data, your data, or anybody else's data, we've all ticked the box, have we?
Well, insurance companies wouldn't sell data if it were illegal. They wouldn't do that. But there has to be circumstances in which other people need to get in touch with you. As I said, if I ran into the back of your car and it's my fault, then it's quite likely my insurance company, not your insurance company, will ring you up and say, can we sort you out, can we look after a replacement vehicle and so forth. And it's absolutely important in all this that people who are genuinely hurt, people who are genuinely inconvenienced and so forth, get rapid help and attention, and that's how the system should work.
Andy, what do you think? Isn't this really just perpetuating this awful claims culture that has developed in Britain over the last 10, 15 years, where by anyone who has a minor accident, a bit of misfortune, they're looking for somebody else to pay. They want to be victims.
Yeah, well, you can look back at when this first started in 2000. People become much more aware of their rights, and when access to justice was first put forward by the Labour government, people then became aware of those. But what claims management companies did, they actually advertised your rights through the medium of television and others, so people became aware of what they were entitled to. So they have the ability to make a claim, they're aware of their rights, and they do, and that's what's really happened. The idea that...
Many of the claims are bogus, aren't they?
I disagree. I mean, it's very difficult to actually make a claim if there isn't a claim there to be had. This idea that people can make bogus claims, there has been some instruments put in place by the Ministry of Justice, something called the Compensation Act. There's measurements through medical organisations which make it actually very difficult to make a bogus claim.
What about the cost to the rest of us? All these claims, more claims means a higher premium, surely.
Well, Lord Young in his report last year called it incitement to litigate, and I think there's no doubt that there are people who are incited to make a claim when there's not much basis for a claim. One in 140 people in this country make a whiplash claim.
Let's give the last word to Andy, because you're shaking your head.
I disagree with that totally, Nick. I mean, the reason why insurance premiums have gone up recently is because the last 5 years the insurance sector has been competitive in trying to get as many people onto their books at a loss. And what's now happened, they're looking for an enemy to blame for the sudden rise in their premiums, because they've had to, and they've looked at claims management companies and the whole compensation sector, if you like, as an enemy, and it's not.
All right, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Andy Wigmore, Nick Starling, many thanks for your time. We appreciate it. This is Jeff Randall Live, coming up after the break.